new to game dev. The game I'm working on is called Full Scale Invasion. It's a first-person slash RPG slash real-time strategy slash, no, I'm kidding. Sci-fi game. It's ground-to-space combat. You're an admiral in your own capital ship. You have a huge holocon in front of you, which is basically a holographic display that you'd see in like Star Wars or Star Trek. That's the real-time strategy elements. What you command on the holocon is also represented one-to-one scale outside of your ship. Your ships can range between 400 meters to 3 kilometers long. The RPG side of it comes from the NPCs aboard your crew and also the NPCs that you come up against, like admirals and all that stuff. Tons of inspiration from animes like One Piece and Gundam, Star Wars obviously. I am very avid on the Discord group and showing every little thing I'm doing. I've got some more stuff to show, but for anyone who hasn't seen it, I'll throw up a video I did for the Godot show reel. I believe my submission was accepted. They downloaded the primary link to the video, so it could be being edited into their show reel. Who knows? But it also acts as a good little trailer, so I'll just throw that up now. For the sake of time, I'm just going to end there. So yeah, a lot of what I've done in between my first presentation here, which was I think 3-4 months ago. I live in a fugue state now. I'm a new dad, so I don't get much time to work on this, but I'm trying to incorporate it more into my workday. I built assets like other ships, smaller fighter craft, working on systems for deploying the fighter craft like this.
Star Fox.
Very much so. Yes. Will I probably have to redesign it a little bit so it's not one-to-one like this? Yes. But for prototyping...
Yeah, that looks way too much like an R-Wing, man.
Yeah.
More like an R-Wing cross with like a BSG Viper.
Yeah. But for prototyping sake, I'm going to leave it for now. Because one of the heavy inspirations for the world building is Star Fox. So here's some more prototyping of the...
That's the main character, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the project's done. This is it.
It's T-Man.
T-pose everything into submission.
Yeah. But I have done a few things that have sort of updated the trailer a little bit. Some assets have been reworked. I'll just fire up the game. I don't even bother creating executables at this point. I'm just constantly changing everything. So the audio is turned off. I'm currently reworking the audio system. The water buffalo guy has got a makeover or facelift. So one thing I've added is turrets to the game. They do individual ray casts, so they don't shoot other turrets or your ship, for example, because I had targets go behind the bridge and they were just shooting the bridge, and I'm just like, probably not a feature that I want. And then I'm currently working on a targeting system for the holocon itself, which is this bad boy right here. I'll open this up. So the only thing that's being visualized right now are your units. I had environmental stuff like asteroids and targeting systems done. I'm not quite happy with them, so I took them out just for this video. But you can see, because the maps are typically 80 square kilometers, you can lose a unit really easy. So I have these icons that represent units. As you zoom in, they'll switch over to the names of the captains piloting the ships. You can zoom way, way, way in, and you get a pretty good likeness. And as you move away, they'll fade out of the projector. It's all shader magic. Before, they were just sort of like these green blobs. I thought this was a better way to sort of visualize the units, because it's got to look pretty while you're playing it, because a major component of the game is, you know, operating the real-time strategy mechanics through this interface. It's fun fact, when I was doing all of the world building and early design, I thought, wouldn't it be really neat to do an extra nod to Star Fox by having all of the computer graphics on the ships themselves only be capable of SNES, like the Super Nintendo 3D? And I thought it was really cool. And then I had my inner critic when I started doing that and be like, you know, these models are really ugly, and I don't know if people are going to make the connection. They're just going to say, wow, this dev really can't model. So I worked it back, and so they're pretty well a one-to-one representation of the model that you're seeing outside of the ship. These ships are incredibly low poly. I think if you were to count, if you were to apply all the Blender modifiers, you probably get around 40 megabytes of vertex data for these ships. And all the materials are trim sheets. So essentially, they're really efficient. I don't even bother with LODs with these ships, just because they're way under like AAA, you know, character models and all that stuff. I mean, that might change down the line.
Do they have to be AAA?
What?
Do they have to be AAA?
Well, the characters?
Yeah.
Oh, not my characters. I'm just talking about modern games and vertex count.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so if I bounce out of here, another mechanic that I'm working on is using the holocon here to communicate outside of the ship. So I sort of got this Neo Cortex looking model here. This is a pirate character. Yeah, this is obviously, I'm just building the shaders right now, and I'm hoping to get more than just a talking head, maybe the shoulders and all that stuff. But yeah, it'll be very similar to how I've programmed the NPCs here. So like these guys will recognize you, and if you get out of their plane of view, they'll look away. So I'm hoping to have some RPG mechanics of talking to other admirals and your enemies via the holocon here. And the other thing I've been working on is the interior of the ship. So if I walk out here, you're going to see this long hull. Well, that's all explorable to the player. That's a hangar. Essentially, I call the ship the Triumph class. It's basically a mobile base that deploys all of your ships and your units. And so I'm actually in the hull now. All these ships, these big ships, have their own physics layers. And so what this allows for is the enemy to board your ship or vice versa. So they're basically floating islands too for RTS mechanics. I haven't started working on any of the ground troops yet, so I just have these big lumbering giants walking around just for a sense of scale. And then there's where the fighters dock, and but I'm still working on the fighter logic right now, so I've just removed them.
I need some motorized Heelys to get around.
Yeah, actually, funny thing. I was playing Half-Life 1, and I... No!
Oh no.
Did I run out of power? Is
Did
this
it not plug
it's
in?
off?
Oh.
No! I was
device
playing
power.
Half-Life 1, and I love the intro. I love the train sequence. So I'm actually going to have a little train that goes through your ship. And one of my characters, who's a capybara, he operates it. And he's like a sort of a scruffy guy from Futurama. I got to give a shout out to my really good friend Jesse Sampson. He's the one doing all the character designs. He fixed Beaumont, which was... the original Bull character wasn't quite what I had in my mind when I was designing him. But of course you start designing and you kind of lose sight of things, and then your friends reel you back. And so he's the guy that updated him to look more kind of like a Star Fox character or a real bull. So yeah, I kind of wanted to show you some more of his character designs, but I think my computer's kaput. Yeah,
He goes right on time too.
Yeah, a divine intervention.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.